Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jeep Life podcast. I'm T-Bone, and I'm your host for the evening. It is just me tonight. I do have a guest that's going to be with us the whole night, and I'll get to him in just a minute. But I couldn't go another week without having a show, so I wanted to kind of throw this together, and I apologize for it being so impromptu, but I'm just excited. We had a really amazing week here in Pennsylvania with, even though we're full in, COVID quarantined, we still managed to safely do some really cool things, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Uh, I just, I'm so excited. I see these names flashing by, and I know it's a podcast, so I shouldn't recognize the people that I see flying on by, but I've got Tommy and Clark Gardner from a previous life of mine. And it's so awesome to see you guys popping up. Elvin and Amy, it's good to see you guys, and so many good people. I wish I could go down the whole list and just say, hey, how's it going? We kind of do that before we hit the music button. So tonight's going to be a little bit different. I have an amazing guest that's been a true partner of mine for the last 2 years, and we've done some really, really cool things. And I'm going to introduce Brandon Ziegler. He's the president of the Jeep Enthusiast of Eastern Pennsylvania Jeep Club here in Pennsylvania. And I'm just going to say, how's it going, Brandon?
It's going good. It's going good.
Man, good to have you here. Good to see you. It was great to see you this weekend. For those of us listening, we had the opportunity. I know I did a Facebook Live from this, but we had the opportunity to support our local medical professionals in an amazing way with the Jeep Club that I belong to and that Brandon is the president of. And so, Brandon, how long have you had your Jeep?
In fact, you know what? It's funny. I was looking up this information so I wouldn't seem like like I didn't know what I was talking about. So I got the current one I have is 2017. I bought it.
All right, but it isn't a 2017. It's a little bit older than that, right?
It is. It's a 2009. I bought it with about 92,000 miles on it.
Oh wow! Yeah, so just getting broken in.
Yeah. getting broken.
Well, I love that Jeep. I allow it to be Team Red-ish.
Yeah.
What's the official color on that?
It is Sunburst Orange.
Sunburst Orange. That's such a great color. Is there any other Jeep in the club with that color?
I have seen a few. Now they also had a copper color that they came out with.
Oh, that's really close.
That's really close, but It's not Sunburst. I'm pretty sure I've seen one or two that is the same exact color. I actually reached out to. It's funny, when I bought the Jeep, I was really into like buying and selling cars, and I didn't know if I was going to keep this that long. But I love it, so I am. But I actually contacted the Chrysler Corporation, and they told me that it was basically. So mine's an X model, which was the Sport. They didn't call it Sport for a couple of years. They called it the X. But there was only that year, there was only 1% made in that color.
Oh, wow. So very unique color.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I brought Brandon on because we had that event this weekend, and I thought it would be a perfect opportunity for us to get to know our Jeep Club and kind of start a segment with the Jeep Life podcast. Because I think part of the Jeep life is being around other Jeepers. And, I'm going to reach out. I've already had a couple of other Jeep clubs, one in California, one in Michigan, that have reached out. And I would love to, have them come on at some point and, talk about their clubs and what they do, some of the things that they do. So I thought it would be great to start with our hometown heroes, if you will. And that's why I asked Brandon to come on, and, just timing couldn't have been more perfect. So I'm just going to jump right in and start out with the interview. I'm not much of an interviewer. I'm not good at coming up with questions, but I think we did a pretty good job with this. And Brendan, the first one is, what inspired you to start the club? How did it come about?
So you said you're not good at asking questions. Well, I'm very thorough at answering questions. So, like I had said before we started, I have kind of a detailed, you know, detailed thing just kind of go over. But I mean, basically it all started with my personal life. I was like Wranglers, Jeeps in general. I mean, when I was a kid, I had one of those Power Wheel Jeeps at my
Nice.
grandparents'. Two of my uncles have had Jeeps. They're both CJs. I don't remember a whole lot about them specifically. I just know that my uncle does still have one, and it was badass, like orange, big
Jeep parts. They don't have to be expensive parts. I'll dime the whole thing.
No, I don't know what happened there.
But yeah, so when we were growing up, my parents, we did have one Jeep growing up. I think it was like a '93 Grand Cherokee. Was the one with the fake wood paneling on the side.
Yeah.
I remember that one. But I bought my first one in 2007. It was a '99 TJ, 4-cylinder, no air conditioning, no frills. Right. Just like I wanted a Wrangler. I found this one. It was in my price range. It was kind of a turd, but
perfect.
It was mine.
I love it.
So I dumped a bunch of money in it, as we do. Rust, paint, new soft top and stuff on it. So, since then, I did sell that one. And then I went to a '98 TJ, which was a 6-cylinder, which is what I should have did all along.
Right.
I had an '04 Grand Cherokee. I had an '04 TJ Sahara 5-speed. I actually traded the Grand Cherokee straight up for that Sahara, and it was stick shift. That was the first stick shift car I ever owned, and I was not very good at it, so that was my learner.
Right. We all have that one.
Yep. But it treated me really well, and it was something that was fairly easy to learn on, so it was a good way to go. But after that, I kind of took a break from the Jeep life, just because circumstances and things like that. I just got into something a little different. I had a pickup truck. I had I had an Acura, so sort of a luxury car, and I just happened to end up unexpectedly selling that Acura, and I was debating on what to get, and back and forth. I was like, you know what? Now's my chance to get what I really want, which was the 4-door Wrangler. I wanted one ever since 2007 when they came out.
When they came out, absolutely.
And it was like, if I don't do it now, I don't know when I'm going to get it. So I scoured the internet. I found one private sale down in Delaware. Drove down, picked it up. So took me 10 years to get a 4-door, but I finally got one.
Perfect.
So the passion's there. I've always had a passion for the Jeeps. It's just such a unique vehicle.
Yeah.
And as far as the car club thing, I had the opportunity to grow up involved in car clubs. So my dad was a part of a few, and we would attend different events as a family. I mean, none of them were Jeep clubs.
Right.
In fact, it's probably the furthest thing from a Jeep club. So I don't think even this, but my dad is actually part of the Rolls-Royce Owners Club.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is definitely the furthest thing that you can possibly have from a Jeep.
So that was a lot of the type of events that we would attend.
Sure.
But obviously it's a higher, and not that Jeeps are cheap, but those are really not cheap. So
right.
So that's kind of how I got my start. And he belonged to a couple others, like some classic car clubs and that kind of thing. So
sure,
I got exposed to that, and a lot of that knowledge, just from going to events and doing stuff with my family. That's how we come up with stuff for our events.
Oh, cool.
With the getting into the car world, my first car I bought, 1990 Mustang hatchback 5.0.
Yes, sir.
2004 when I graduated. I still have it today.
Yeah, I've seen it in the garage.
Yeah, that's pretty much all.
I've never heard it turn over once.
But I put a lot of love, money, sweat into that. The original idea when I bought it was, to kind of make it like a daily driver show car kind of thing, and join Mustang clubs and do stuff. And I went to a couple things, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like that was it.
So I know quite a few Mustang Jeep owners, and almost all of them, their Mustang is parked and their Jeep is what they drive.
Yeah, it's funny. When I bought the Jeep, I was like, I usually take the Mustang out on nice days,
Yeah,
and I just have my daily car, which I drive all the time. Well, now it's a nice day. I want to go with the top down. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. I know exactly
uh,
what you mean. So that whole love of the car club thing kind of got you itching um for the Jeep club. Is that what happened basically?
yeah, because I bought the Mustang, and I really wanted to get involved in club life. And like I said, I went to a couple events, and it's mostly car shows. I hate to say, they don't really do much more than car shows. At least
Right.
the groups that I had found. And I don't know. I mean, it was nice. It's cool to show off your vehicle, but you feel really good about it until you're next to something that's like, mine looks like crap next to yours. So,
Right.
uh, so that was something that, um, I mean, that's like that for anything. But it was like, that was just the show, and it was like, I didn't know anybody, and I'm there by myself, and I would drag my wife April along because I didn't want to be there by myself.
Right.
But so that's kind of what got me into that. And when I bought that first Jeep, I had no idea what the Jeep Wave was. That was the first one. I know I like Jeeps, but I didn't really know much about it. I buy it and I'm wondering why everybody's waving at me.
Right.
So after I found out what that was all about, that was another thing that really drew me. Because I think it's cool. It's kind of like an unspoken bond between Jeep owners.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
completely
you know,
agree.
and all you have to do is buy the right vehicle. I didn't really do much to the other Jeeps, as far as customizing or anything like that. It was just an awesome year-round daily driver. You get four-wheel drive in the winter and top-down fun in the summer.
Perfect. Yep.
I try to explain. You try to explain Jeep life to non-Jeepers, and sometimes they just don't get it.
It's hard to understand until you actually turn the key and drive one.
Yeah,
It's really hard. I mean, even sitting as a passenger, it's not 100% solid with you until you turn the key and you take off in your own Jeep. You
yeah. I
just don't
know
get it.
my wife was not thrilled with the Wrangler idea because I had the TJs, and they're rough and they're
Yeah,
loud,
sure.
and then I got this one, and she's like, no, I like this one. So,
Nice. Well, we won her
um,
over. I like it. I like it.
so she just has trouble getting in it.
So let's yeah, yeah. Step stools make for big helps.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about how the Jeep Enthusiast of Eastern Pennsylvania, that's a mouthful, how that came to be.
So for me personally, when I bought my Jeep, I didn't really do any events before I bought this current one. I had gone to first event I ever went to was Blue Mountain Jeep Alliance, which is a local club here in PA, out of Hamburg area.
Yeah.
Um, and they have a fall ride every year where they go through state game lands, um, in Hamburg, out by Cabela's. And really, that was my first time taking the Jeep off road. I mean, consider that off road.
Right, right, right.
Um,
Oh, I've seen a
but
picture from that.
yeah, yeah. In fact, the one picture on the head of our page is actually from that ride.
Oh, right on.
So, um, yeah. So I hadn't really done anything like that before. The Jeep has done it. The previous owner had taken it to Rouse Creek and stuff before, but personally had never done that before.
Right.
So that was my first time really being exposed to a Jeep club, and it was a huge turnout. Everybody was really nice and friendly. So I joined some Facebook groups on Jeep groups, hoping to find something closer. I mean, Blue Mountain's not far, but I was just looking for something more local.
Right.
Blue Mountain does a lot of off-roading, which is great. I mean, they seem like a really great group, but it just really wasn't what I was looking for. Um, so there used to be a club here in the valley just called Lehigh Valley Jeep Club, and I found them. They weren't really doing anything, and found out later that they disbanded over poli-
Right, right.
politics within. Meanwhile, I also belong to a Facebook group called JKU Enthusiast. That's a group that was all over the country, different people. And Terry, you had put up a post, as anybody from the Allentown area.
Right.
And I responded to it. And funny enough, there was another Brandon from Lehigh that also did.
Right. The two Brandons.
Yep. The three of us started talking, and we kind of wished there was a Jeep club in the area. And I remember, I don't think it took long, a couple of days or a couple of weeks or something like that. And, I was like, do you guys want to do this?
Right.
And you both kind of showed interest. We brainstormed some names. Terry, I mean, you were like, you had Jeep Enthusiast of Eastern PA waiting in your pocket.
Yeah.
Which, as everybody knows, it's J.E.E.P is the first initials. I mean, it was, as soon as you told us, it was like, that's it. Like, there's no better name that can be done.
Yeah, I still think is the best Jeep club name in the country that I've seen.
It's perfect.
It's a mouthful, but
it is. That's why we have to shorten it.
Yeah, right. It was funny because I remember the conversation we were having online that, when I first threw it out there, everybody's like, yeah, that's it. That's perfect. Oh, wait, there's a lot of letters in that. Yeah. All right, let's table that. And if we can come up with something that's even better, then let's roll with it. But if not, then this is definitely the one we have in our pocket.
And there was nothing better.
I still don't think there is.
No, I don't think so either. So basically, we kind of talked about it, and we decided, we started a Facebook page, and we decided to try to do an event. Now, you and I had not met. We had not met anybody. None of us had met in person other than just over the internet.
It was literally going to be you, me, and the other Brandon, right?
Yep. So we decided to do a drive from Emmaus to Weyerbacher Brewing in Easton. I think it was a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I remember pulling up we met at a supermarket, and I remember pulling up, and there were two Jeeps in the parking lot. Well, I thought, one of them was you and one of them was going to be Brandon. Well, here it was Bill showed up.
Yeah.
We never met Bill, heard from Bill before.
Never.
And he was there, and it turned out the other Brandon ended up getting tied up. He does stuff for the fire company up there, so he was not able to make it. So it was me, Terry, and Bill, and I drug my wife along, so she was there too. And
good thing, or we wouldn't have had pictures.
That's true. And we took a 45-minute drive, back roads and stuff, and we just, we hung out, we talked over some beers, and that's kind of where it all got started.
Yeah, I think it was really cool because we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, and I think we definitely wanted to end up at a brewery for some reason.
Yes.
And I'd have a beer. We were talking about Yingling, we talked about other mm-hmm. breweries, and Weyerbacher came really, that was like the perfect location. So that was awesome. All right, so that was as a matter of fact, I got the notification that was 2 years ago on the 15th. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So this club hasn't been in existence for very long. What are the requirements to join?
So I think, when we all started talking about this, I think one thing that we all agreed on was paying dues to belong to a club sucks.
Yeah.
So, I didn't want to pay dues, to go have fun. And I think that's part of the reason that stopped me from really getting into stuff, because I didn't want to pay dues just to belong to a club.
Right.
So, as a club, we have no membership fees. And we are going to keep it that way as long as we can. So basically, you have to own a Jeep, obviously.
Right.
And then we have a form that we have you sign that basically says that you agree to bylaws, which is really cut and dry. We joke all the time, Terry. What are the 2 rules of the club?
One is don't be an asshole.
Yep.
And the second one is buy a T-shirt.
And own a Jeep.
Right, own a Jeep. Right. All right. All right. And the own a Jeep. I thought that was implied in the actual name of the group, but but yeah, it really is. There's not a lot. There's drive a Jeep and, don't be a jerk.
Pretty much.
We need
Yeah,
to put that in as a bylaw, really.
So that's basically, own a Jeep, sign this form, and then we ask you to buy some type of merchandise, because basically we don't do the dues, so that's where we make some of our money so that we can afford to do things as a club. So and then two, buying something, it's, you're getting something for your money. It's not like you have to, you're not just paying a dues to belong. You're
Right.
getting a shirt or a hoodie or something out of it. So
Yeah, that was something from the very beginning that we thought was important, that,
yeah.
even though you and I probably put in enough money to pay our dues for about 15 years in a particular Jeep club, it's more than paid itself back, and the club is running great because I feel like we give people a place to hang out and share our passion together, right?
Exactly.
So I love that whole no dues idea. And it's, I belonged to a fraternity in college, and that was real important to me. And people always said, "Hey, you're just buying your friends." No, I love these people, but it's the same way here. But now I'm older and I have a lot more responsibilities in my life. I don't want to have to buy my friends. I already spent a lot of money on a particular automobile. But it's good to be able to give back and be a part of that organization and not have to, worry about paying dues. Right.
Yeah. Plus, like you said, we have Jeeps, so we're all broke anyway.
Right. Exactly. If $5 comes in, $8 goes out to the Jeep. So how many events, you talked about that event, but how many events a year, or what's the event schedule like?
So we have, with obviously the exception right now with COVID going on, we have an event once a month. We do meetings bi-monthly. We do 2 off-road events a year. We also try to have family-oriented events as well as adult-geared events. Like we said before, we do breweries and stuff like that. I have a 3-year-old son. Terry, you have a daughter. It's important for us to include the family in the club activities.
Yeah, and they love it.
With me being a planner, it's great for me be able to work on the events and do stuff. And I mean, some people ask, well, how'd you come up with this? Well, honestly, a lot of it's just stuff I want to do. Right. And it's like, well, let's just make the club thing.
Right. I love it.
And you'll also notice that we don't do much that starts early in the morning because I am not a morning person. So very few events we have that start in the morning. But since conception, March 2008 was, like I said, that's kind of when we got started. We had that, like I said, like we just said, our first event would have been in April. But we have had 12 meetings. We've had 32 events, and we've helped 10 different charities. In that short 2 years that we've been doing this.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So that was actually my next question. I know the group does a lot of charitable works. What are some of those organizations that we've helped over the years, the 2 years?
I planned that lead in real good.
I love it.
So we've done, we did Valor, which is a assistant to homeless veterans. So we've done collection of toiletries and clothing and stuff to help that organization. We did a scavenger hunt that ended at Saucony Brewing in Kutztown. We did that was for the Sanctuary of Halfsville. That's an animal shelter. Right. Where Saucony Creek donated $1 for every beer that was sold about certain couple of hours.
Perfect.
We've done Camp Out for Hunger, which is a big event down in Philly, which benefits Phil Abundance. That's also put on by WMMR radio. They take a week, and then they do have an actual, like, a Jeep. So the Jeep Club and the Porch Club got into a sort of a friendly rival of who could earn the most. And I know, and Terry, I think you're the one that found that and pointed that out to us, and thought that was something cool to get involved in, and it has been. We've done that for 2 years,
and that's Jackson's Jeep Club.
Correct. Yeah.
down there. He's a one of the disc jockeys on MMR. So, and he's a huge Jeep guy.
So we've also done where Don works. When we met Don at one of the events. I think it was one of our movie nights.
Yeah, it was a drive-in. Yep.
Yeah, and he was like, I work at a tech school. We do stuff with Jeeps. Let's plan a tech day at some point in the future. And the stars aligned, and it worked out. So we've done stuff with Western Montgomery Career and Technical Center. We've had two tech days down there. We raised money for them. We've done a benefit trail ride for one of our own members that had cancer, that was fighting cancer. We've done Meals on Wheels, Miller Keystone Blood Center. We did, Bill's family has every year they sponsor a couple of families in the area up there. They kind of call themselves Santa's helpers to help some families at Christmas. So we did that this last year, and they were able to help more families than they ever have. And then, of course, we recently also did LVHN, which I know we're going to get into in a little bit. But, in the 2 years we've done this, we've raised over $6,000, in addition to food and clothing items and stuff like that, too. So,
and Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots, yes.
I know 2 years in a row I've delivered a Jeep full of toys, like filled to the brim Jeep full of toys. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing about, this club, and it's, we go out and we have a good time, but, if we ask people to help, it's really kind of overwhelming sometimes, the amount of help, outreach we get for these charities. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And people go above and beyond when we know people need help. They're the best people. They just give. And, if they can't give them, money, they give her the toy, or they give her the food, or just the time, the willingness to give blood, like at the blood center. And that was an awesome day. And then I know that day, one of our members actually took the person we were driving the blood for in a drive in his Jeep. And, that was like a dream come true for that kid. And it was pretty awesome.
It was. I had mentioned, because obviously he's been in and out of hospital and stuff too. And I did mention something to his mom about this ride. And, obviously with everything going on, she would have loved to be able to do that again, just to have him in the Jeep and have him in the parade. But, obviously the things going on just wasn't safe to do at the time. But,
yeah. I mean, the situation, wasn't perfect to have somebody join us. Now, what we've been kind of leading up to is one of our recent event, and I believe it was Friday. We were able to work with Lehigh Valley Heart Network and do Jeep parades for 3 of their campuses here in the Lehigh Valley. How did this event come to happen?
So it's kind of twofold. So I saw on Roger Track's website, they had a post that there was a handful of Jeeps. I want to say maybe it was 5 or 6, and I don't remember where this was in the country. They went to a hospital and they went at a shift change to show appreciation.
All right.
And I know one of our members, Sammy, which is on. Hi, Sammy. She had originally tried to. She works at a nursing home, and her idea was to have a Jeep parade at the nursing home.
Right.
And, she originally set that up. Unfortunately, the COVID stuff was really starting to ramp up, and restrictions got more severe, and just decided it wasn't a not good idea to do it at the time. So honestly, that's part of what helped. Those two things. I was like, what can we do? We can do something. So I sent an email out to LVHN and St. Luke's. LVHN did get back to me. They were like super excited right from the start. It was definitely a good 2 weeks of planning and a lot of emails.
Right.
But we were able to do it. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So coordinating this event over 3 campuses, and they weren't right next door to each other. They were spread out over time. That seems like a bit of a challenge. How did you manage that? Was there a lot of coordination?
So to be honest, LVHN really they really stepped up and kind of took off with this. They kind of set up their aspect of it. They got in touch with their security team. They got in touch with the other hospitals. That she asked me to reach out to the two counties, which was Lehigh and Northampton County, as well as the police departments. But I mean, they really kind of took it. They set the day. The security figured out the routes. So they did we figured out timing together. They really kind of took it and really, really went with it. I got kind of a curveball from the original plan, because I got an email and said that, okay, security wants to limit it to 15 Jeeps per location.
Ooh, 15.
And yeah, and I was like, okay, but that's not really what we're looking for. Originally my whole idea was to have like a huge group of maybe 100 or 200 Jeeps and just kind of caravan hospital to hospital.
Right.
But then we got hit with that limit, and I was like, all right, well, we had to decide to do a different way. So, so we ended up using free tickets through Eventbrite so people could sign up. And then, less than a week before the event was ready to go, they were able to up those numbers. They let us do 50 at two of the hospitals, and 25 at another. That was an inner city hospital. We were all on public streets, so we wanted to do a little less there. But honestly, that was really, when we first planned this, there were no other parades that were done. The first responders parades hadn't happened yet. And that just happened to happen in this emailing back and forth, and they showed up with 50 to 100 vehicles.
Yep.
About a week before we did ours, and didn't clear that with the security, just kind of showed up. And after they did that, it ended up really well. That it was a little too much that they brought, but they realized we could do 50, and that would be comfortable.
Yeah, especially with smaller vehicles.
Yeah, so it was great that we were able to do that. So we offered tickets for each site. It was 125 total, and we sold out in less than 2 days.
Yeah, it was. I kept asking for updates. How many tickets we have left? By like 12 hours, we were at 90%. I mean, it was crazy how fast people were sucking those up.
Yeah, we would have sold out those 15 spots in probably the first hour.
Probably so. Absolutely. So it was interesting. So the lead Jeep was the county commissioner, and that was pretty awesome. So we had an honorary grand marshal, if you will, for our parade, that was a county executive, and then immediately following that was a Jeep presented by Rothrock, with the mascot from the Iron Pigs minor league baseball team here in the Lehigh Valley, Ferris. How did that come about?
Well, so like I said, I had reached out to the police departments, and I had reached out to the county, and I thought, I kind of figured I wasn't going to hear anything back. And Lehigh got back to me, and they're like, "This is awesome. Our county, the county executive, he has a Jeep and would love to be a part of this." So once they were like, "Let us know, when all the details are up." So once we got all the details, I sent it over, and they went in immediately, got one of those the tickets for he did the two hospitals in the Lehigh County, and they were just super on board. And he, like I said, they did ask. I was like, "Well, can he be in the front so he's leading his county in this?" I was like, "That's just let me know what he drives."
Right.
And she says it's a yellow Jeep with the county logo on the side. I was like, perfect, that's easy to spot.
Yeah.
And then as far as the Iron Pigs, I mean, honestly, that was basically all the hospital.
Okay.
So they already have basically a tight relationship, with sponsorships and stuff like that between the two of them.
Right.
And she originally had asked me, she's like, "Well, how can we, if we get them to come, can we get like a float, like trailer behind the Jeep?
Right.
Or how would that work?" And I was like, "Well," I said, Jeep just came out with the Gladiator, of course, which is the pickup truck. And I was like, that would be the most perfect thing, but I don't, I'm not, didn't know anybody that had the Gladiator well enough to approach them and ask them.
Right.
And then, honestly, it was the surprise for me the day we showed up there, and there's this blue Gladiator comes in, and here it was Rothrock donated the use of the Gladiator so the mascots could ride in the back for the parade. So
yeah, that was just an awesome sight to see that. I mean, I love the Gladiator to start with, and then throw a mascot from a minor league baseball team in there. I'm sold. It was awesome. So I guess here I'm a numbers guy, and I want things to be huge and big and beautiful. And I know we sold out all 3 of those events. How many Jeeps were present in the whole day? I know that some Jeeps were the same Jeeps through, like you and I were in all 3 parades. Some people weren't able to do that. How many Jeeps do you think we had total?
So it was 125 spots. We had 50, 25, and 50. Like I said, we sold out. That was over the 3 locations. I was going to do a count and see if I could figure out who was at each one. If I had to take a guess, I'm going to say there was probably close to 90 different Jeeps.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because there were definitely a few people that we saw at all 3. There was some people that just came to 2,
right?
And then again, some people that just came to 1. But if I had to put a guess on it, I would say about 90.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess. I mean, 90 Jeeps at any event is impressive, but to have 3 separate events that 90 people showed up to, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I know that because of some of the success for this, I mean, it's gotten some local press, it's gotten some visibility. Other organizations have contacted you. What are the future plans for doing something very similar to this?
So we're actually planning to do another hospital with LVHN. This is their Schuylkill hospital, which is up in Pottsville.
It's a little bit of a hike.
It is, yeah. They had, but and I figure too, we kind of have members from all over.
Yeah.
So this might be close for somebody where the ones down here weren't. And again, we might have people that are willing to take that drive up there. It is kind of a scenic drive going up there.
Yeah, sign me up. I'm in.
But so we're planning on doing that. That's hopefully going to be this week. I'm just waiting for some details from the hospital because this one's a little bit different. This will be on city streets too, so we've got to clear everything with police and fire, EMS, all that kind of stuff. But we also got reached out to a few senior living facilities that would like to. They saw what we were doing at the hospital and kind of asked if we could do something similar for that for them. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be some planning, but we're gonna try to get something together if we can do something for them as well.
Yeah, I really, I almost feel it's more important to hit those folks, and I don't mean hit them, but go to their sites because they're working hard, and may even be working harder than some of the hospitals because the resources might not be as deep or as heavy as that. So anything we can do to support them, I'd love to see if we can.
Yeah, and especially for there too, and it's not, obviously it's the workers there that, they're taking care of everybody, but it's the patients too.
Yeah, they can come to the window and
they can't, they can't have visitors right now. They can't see their family, so, it'll help brighten their day too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So I didn't have this question on books, but I kind of wanted to. I know I'm gonna throw you for a loop. When we look at this, there were a lot of hands in this pie. If you say, because the hospital was helping. Mm-hmm. Who else really? I mean, I think what was the police department for the first one that gave us the escort?
So that was one of the things I looked up to see which police departments were the local PDs for each location. So the first location, which I actually didn't realize, but is Salisbury Township Police.
Right.
And I emailed all 3 of them. So it was Salisbury Township, Allentown, and Bethlehem.
Yep.
And, I just sent out an email at all three, just say, hey, we're looking to do this. Would you have a problem with this? Because, obviously, it's not normal right now.
No.
And there is that stay-at-home order and stuff, and and I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want the club to get in trouble, and I don't want anybody else to get in trouble. So we wanted to make sure we crossed all our T's, dotted our I's to make sure that this was all on the up and up. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I emailed Salisbury Police and I got a response back super quick, and they're like, absolutely, let us know when it is. We'll help promote it for you. I reached out to Allentown and they said, yeah, just let us know when it's going to be. Bethlehem, I did not hear back from, but luckily, one of our members, Randy, he is chief of police in Nazareth, and I asked him, I was like, could you reach out to Bethlehem, please?
Yeah. He knows a few people.
So he was gracious enough to do that, and make sure we got the okay from them. And then when once we had a date plan and stuff, I emailed them again and let them know exactly what day and routes and stuff. And Salisbury Police was really on board, and they're like, we're gonna send a unit over, and they ended up leading the parade.
Yeah.
Which was really awesome to have them involved. After everything was over, I did send them an email and thank them, and they're even interested in possibly doing something, an event just coordinated with the two of us.
Oh, cool.
With the department. So, as a club, we're all about helping law enforcement and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I love that. So they were great. They put up a video actually of the parade. Yeah, so that was pretty awesome. Then of course, the hospitals were involved. It was great to have the county commissioner from Lehigh Valley do the two parades. The Iron Pigs were great to provide. They did. It was pretty awesome. They provide 3 different mascots at each of the.
They did
one for each of the parades, so it wasn't just the same. And then Colossal Radio has been involved and helped promote this and make sure that we have, everybody is aware of what we're doing. I know Doc up there's he was there and did all 3 parades and was just stoked. It was great. I know he did some Facebook Live stuff for Colossal Radio for the event. And so it was just great and of course, representing the J.E.E.P Live podcast, I did some Facebook Live as well. So I think it was well covered from all ends. A huge success, I think.
I think so too. I got a little nervous about, especially 17th Street, because we were on, it was city streets.
Yeah, right.
And we didn't, that was one thing. The police were like, we're okay with this, but we're not going to provide you with any kind of police escort, and that was fine. And you know what, it ended up working out great. I mean, honestly, I don't think, unless somebody wants to tell me otherwise, I don't think it could have went any better.
It was a super smooth event from start to finish. I think the meeting places were perfect. I think lining things up were great. The hospital security was great and being able to help that. And then just more importantly, I think the appreciation that we saw from, the professionals and the patients there, which is what it was really all about anyway. Signs were made. If you haven't already, go to our YouTube page and watch the video from that. I put up a little short video from that, and it's super cool to kind of see that appreciation. Yeah, that was awesome.
And we both we were, after the first one we did, we stopped, we went back to the parking lot, and you look at me and he goes, was that emotional for you? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, there were several people that, we said the same thing. Did you cry for that one? Yep. Did you? Yep. Who wants to admit it? But yeah, definitely the tears were pretty welled up in the eye a little bit. So man, I love that you came on here and talked to me about this. I know we're pushing the 45-minute mark ish. And I had another topic to go on to, but if it's okay with everybody else, I think we're just going to leave it at this and this interview and just call it a night. And I can't believe how great this has gone, Brandon. You've been spectacular as
Thanks.
interviewee.
I told you I was going to fill up your time.
Yeah, I know. When you showed me your 46 page novel that you wrote of answers, I love it. So how can people get in touch with the group or find out about the group?
A couple different ways. So obviously we have a Facebook page. It's, facebook.com/Jeep Enthusiast of Eastern PA. We all have a Facebook group that you're welcome to join. That can be found through our Facebook page. You just click on the group link, request to be added, and we'll get you added. We are I think we're shy of 3,000 members there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then we have our Instagram, which is at Jeepers Eastern PA. We have our website, which is Jeep Enthusiast of EasternPA.org. And then, we also have our email, which is Jeep Enthusiast of Eastern PA at Gmail, which again, like we talked about, the name is super long. Sorry, but
yeah, I have to go back and recheck the spelling every time. It's crazy.
I'm the same way. I still can't. After 2 years, I still can't spell enthusiast right on the first try.
Yeah, it's thank goodness for spell check, right? Well, everybody out there that's been with us on Facebook Live, man, it's been great. I know that without you, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we're doing. So I'm going to put out a call of action. If you like what you hear, and even if you don't, even if you hate us, please go to the podcast app of your choice, rate us, and leave a review. I know I've gotten to meet some really cool people that way. Tell your friends. I would love to read a review on the next episode and be able to say, yeah, thanks for this review. So it really helps us. It helps us move up and help more people find us. And just makes it a better experience for everybody if it's easier to find and locate. So if you're listening right now on Facebook Live, go to your podcast app. I know on Apple, if you're using a podcast app on Apple, if you go there, you can easily do a rate and review. Please hit us a 5-star and give us a review. Let us know what you think and how it's going. I'd love for you to you found us already on the Jeep Life podcast on Facebook. We do have a YouTube page where I post all these Facebook Lives. I also have videos from these events. And Frank, our driveway mechanic, he and I do videos all the time on how-tos. So go to our YouTube page as well and subscribe there. Leave us a note there. Frank's pretty awesome. I've really enjoyed getting to know him and Shady Lady, who is probably one of our very first members in the Jeep Club. And you can find us on Instagram as well. Hit us up, hit a like there, tag us. I do have this sticker. These are special edition stickers that are going to be very, very, very much available for a long time. That's my goal. Tag us, tag your friends, and show me where you'd like to put that sticker on your Jeep, and I'll send some out. I sent out a lot last week. I would love to send out a little bit more. I love doing that. It also helps keep the post office in business. So I'll be happy to go and buy some more stamps. That's all I've got. Brandon, you got anything else for us?
I don't think so. Thank you for having me on.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to get over this and get out on the trail with you soon and camp and do other activities, man. It's a blast. Thanks everybody for listening, and you have been listening to the Jeep Life podcast. I'll see you out on the trail.